Video is changing a carburetor on an FS91 trimmer with a Hipa carburetor, and I'm going to show you some of their adjustment tools. And Tom Doby, Puff Puff, this is for you. Saw that video yesterday, pretty funny. We'll see you guys. Stay tuned, we'll get right into it. Alright guys, so today we're working on a FS90 Stihl trimmer. I believe it's the FS90R. All we're going to do to this today is just change this carburetor out. On here, this is another one of those Hipa products. They sent me this. I'm going to just change this carburetor and put it on this trimmer here. Let's try to crank this up and see what it's doing. Once again, it's just a customer of mine wanting to try it out. It needs a new carburetor, so we're gonna prime this thing up, put it on choke. Now I've already taken this cover off and adjusted the valves on it. Kind of need to pull cord here. You see that's pretty shoddy, so I'll probably change that out for him, at least the handle. He's real rough on his equipment, this guy. He's, you know, you hear the more medic talking about trailer abuse, trailer whatever. This guy's famous for that. But anyway, let's pull it and see. Now they say to squeeze the trigger and push this back all the way. Got your choke on, and you pull it. So the choke doesn't kick off automatically, so we're going to crank it back up. Now to me that sounds pretty good, but we're going to change the carburetor anyway since we have one. This one's old, the primer bulb shot on it. So let's get to it. Take the air filter cover off, T27, pretty much all the way around on these things. Air filter, we'll probably change that out too. Now, on these Stihl trimmers, to get the carburetor off, you got two 8mm nuts that got to come off. I don't know if y'all can see that. I can't see it, so I know y'all can't see it. Anyway, let's just get to it. It's kind of cold out here in Birmingham today. It's about 41 degrees right now. And I'm not wanting to be out here doing this, but it's got to get done. So we're going to do it. Two 8mm coming off. Don't want to lose that. Then this just pop off. This little hose right here connects to your vent, your gas tank vent. I'm just going to let this slide on out of the way here. I'm not even going to take it off. Then I'm going to see if I can't pull this carburetor loose. Now there's supposed to be a gasket right here, and there is. And they usually stick to the back of the plate, or they stick on the carburetor. This one's stuck on the carburetor. So we want to make sure we can get this one off or replace it with a new one when we're putting it back together. My bad. First thing we want to do is get this throttle cable loose, so I just take my finger and push this up like that. And your throttle cable comes out. That'll give you a little free up on the carburetor. You can pop it out a little bit, then you want to get your needle nose gently, ever so gently, you've got a fuel line going to the bottom here, and then one here, and just kind of take those off. And once again, don't forget to loosen the gas cap so you don't have fuel going everywhere. Now if you're taking this off and you're going to plan on reusing this carburetor, be careful on this plastic tab. I mean, this inlet thing is plastic and you can break it real easy, especially in the cold weather like I'm out here doing. Alright, almost got that one off. Now you see this just popped off, it fell off, but it goes right back. I'll show you. Then y'all just be able to pull this out like that. Now this little tube here coming off the carburetor, it fits in that hose right there. There's your vent for your gas. So we're going to clean all this up, spray it off real quick, and I'll be back. Here, there's this other gasket right here, but there's two T27 screws around here that hold this manifold. I call it a manifold, whatever you want to call it. Make sure they're tight while you're here. You want to check these fuel lines, make sure they're not cracked, leak. You know, they crack up here around where they fit, the fitting goes on. Make sure all that's good before you go to put the new carburetor on. And putting the new carburetor on is the same as taking the old one off. Just slide it back on. Like, this is not going to be a full service tune-up. I mean, I've already adjusted the valves on it, but and it's all beat up, but it's an old one. They don't make these trimmers anymore. They're good trimmers. Most of my commercial people, they love these, but you can't buy them new anymore. But anyway, so we're going to slide this on, and when you're putting this on, make sure this tube here goes into this hose here. This is your ventilation. Well, not ventilation, but you get your crankcase pressure from it, which helps suck the fuel as it's running. So I'm going to get all that lined up and I'll be back. Now there's two things about this Hipa carburetor. Let's look at them. This is the Stihl carburetor that came off right here. And then this is the one from Hipa. And I've noticed this before, and they still haven't fixed the problem. But on this far side, on this bottom side here where this tube comes out, this is the Stihl, and then this is the Hipa. Now I've already fixed the problem on this one, but this tube here sticks out about a 1/4 inch too far on the one from Hipa. So you have to take you because they don't seat it in there far enough. You have to take you I just take me a little punch or anything you got that's flat, and then get you a hammer and tap this tube in. Otherwise it will not clear the vent on the gas tank. When you're sliding it on, it'll hit that vent, and if you try to force it, you'll break that vent on the gas tank and you'll be replacing that. So that's one drawback to the Hipa carburetor. And the other one, if you notice, this little tube that comes out, this is the Stihl one right here. You see how it's kind of just curved and straight down? Well, the Hipa one wants to come out and curve this way. It'll still work, but you got to put your fuel line, kind of put it on. This tube's fine, or this right here is fine. It's pretty much the same. Now, as far as performance, I don't know how long they last, but the performance seems to be the same. It's just this right here, and I complained about this before. They still haven't fixed that problem yet, but it's something they need to address. Like I said, this is a paid video, or they sent me this for free, but I'm going to criticize it because I think it needs to be fixed. But other than that, you know, it's just a little modification you have to do. So, you know, this is a $25 carburetor. This is a $60 carburetor. So, you know, weigh your options. I would probably go with the OEM part if it was me, but this is a great I mean, this works fine. You just gotta do some stuff to it. Anyway, just thought I would share that. So this is the gas tank vent. You see that little nipple running off? That's where that hose would hook back up when you're putting the cover back on. But that's what I was talking about when I was telling you about this piece right there. It has to clear the top of this vent to hook to that hose, or if you try to force it, it's going to hit right there and it'll break the top off of that, and then your gas tank vent will no longer work. So we're going to put the carburetor back on just like we took it off, and we'll see what this puppy will do. Alright, just going to slide it on. Make sure that clears, and you may have to get your pliers to hold this hose while you're sliding it on. Make sure it gets on there. Like that. So it's on there and it's fitting really good. Alright, then I like to go ahead and just hook your fuel lines back up. Just slide them back on. A lot of times you might want to put the bottom one on first, and might be easier for you, but this top one though, the way they've got that curved on there, right. Then you want to just hook your throttle cable back up, same procedure, just lift up the throttle, slide that cable in. One side of this is bigger than the other, and you'll know because it'll fit right in there. Then you want to check, make sure you got good throttle action. And you can adjust that through the top here. It's got a T27. You can tighten that down or loosen it up depending on what you need to do to get your throttle action right. You just want it when you squeeze it to be wide open and not a lot of slack in it. Then this is that gasket I was telling you about, and you'll notice there's a little hole right there, and that goes to the right side. Slide that back on. Then you want to put your air filter housing back on. And you're going to have to slide this hose, or this little line here. You want to make sure it's not cracked too. Back onto that nipple. Just twist it around. This piece goes to the right side. Fit this back over your studs, like so. I say so. Man, it's cold out here. That wind's blowing, it's what's bad. And I'm struggling to do this with one hand and hold this way. Make sure everything's back on there good. Then you got your two 8mm. They go back on. We're going to tighten all this down, put a new air filter in it, and then we'll give it a crank. So we got everything else installed. Air covers back on, your air filter. And we'll see what happens. guess the Hipa carburetor is pretty good, other than those few things I showed you. And while we're at it, they sent me a carburetor adjustment kit. It's pretty nifty. Nice little case it comes in. It's got 14 adjustment tools. A lot of you guys have these already. It's pretty cool. It comes with a tip cleaners. Main reason I wanted this is because it comes with the adjustment tool for the Echo, the Micro D adjustment for the Echo carburetors. This one adjustment tool you can get for like $8 or $9 if you had to buy it by itself, or you can buy the Pro line edition of it, which is about $20. But that Micro D adjustment, and it's got several other specialty ones that work with the Poulons, the Husqvarnas, the Stihls. It pretty much covers it all. So it's a nice little kit, and if you don't have carburetor adjustment tools, I think this is a really great deal from Hipa, these carburetor adjustment tools. So that's another little thing. And so thank you guys at Hipa, thank you Colin, thank everybody. Appreciate it, and we're going to call this a done deal. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that like button. And it's cold out here, so I'm going to try to get back in the house and edit this video and get it out. So everybody out there in YouTube land, y'all have a good day. Thank you for watching. Jungle Bob out.